You're listening to Eat, Play, Sex with Dr. Cat, the place to uplevel that sexy life of yours, with expert talk on sex, love, and nutrition.
You know, it's so interesting to think of the image of cannabis that I think you and I both were given growing up was, and even today, that it's a recreational purpose. It's something that you do, that people do for fun, or they do to just get stoned and just like hang out and just being mindless or whatever. And some of your articles that I was reading were talking about how it can be used in the treatment of PTSD, which was really intriguing for me because I also think of cannabis as being something that might disconnect somebody.
Mhm.
So how can it be used with PTSD to be able to help rather than hinder? Or is it possible to be a disconnector or number or
Yeah, absolutely. I think it all comes down to intention, how you're using it and why. If you're trying to escape from feeling the discomfort of the feelings that you're experiencing, that may not work out as well. But if you're using it to manage the symptoms, let's say of feeling panicky, or that I know for me, when my trauma is like really activated, my appetite goes out the window. Can't
Mm,
eat a thing. And so a little bit of cannabis helps to stimulate my appetite so that I can nourish myself. And
mhm.
that's really helpful. I think any PTSD treatment is best certainly supervised by a professional. Go to therapy. Just
Good
saying.
time.
And cannabis is not something that's going to cure, quote unquote, PTSD. It's a tool, just like EMDR, just like yoga and movement therapy, just like music therapy, just like psychedelic therapy. Like, these are all tools in your toolkit that will help and make a difference and actually work better, like the entourage effect. They work better in concert with each other as opposed to just as a single isolated technique. But
Mhm.
it helps if you feel, like all this noise in your brain is distracting you from being present in the moment with your body, with your pleasure, with your partner. Cannabis can help kind of bring you back. And I've been geeking out lately on polyvagal theory,
I love
right?
it. Yes, go on.
So, when you think about like vagus nerve activation and trying to bring it back into safe and social out of fight flight, or out of the dissociated freeze response, like bringing you back up the ladder, cannabis can help you do that if you find the right ones. And if you find ones that don't work for you, if you go too far, THC has something called a biphasic effect. So it has opposite effects at high and low doses. So low doses, euphoric, relaxed, like pleasant, state of homeostasis. And at high doses, it can cause paranoia, anxiety, panic, rapid heart rate, like all of these
Yeah.
really unpleasant things. And I've been there. I have had panic attacks from cannabis.
Yeah, me
You
too.
have, right? Not fun. Do not recommend, 0 stars. But but if you are really mindful with like starting so slow, just, maybe 2 milligrams of an edible, or like one puff of a flower, whether you're vaping or smoking. If you are new to cannabis, stay the fuck away from dabbing. Just don't.
What is
Don't do
that?
concentrates.
I don't even know what
Um,
that is.
Basically, it takes all of the most active components of the plant and like concentrates them into, like, one dab is like 3 joints in a breath.
Oh.
And so for people who have a really high tolerance, or people who are receiving cancer treatments like chemo and need like a lot of THC to help manage those symptoms, it's great because it only takes a little bit of medicine to have major effects, which is fantastic. And for people who are new and like just kind of dipping a toe in the pool, the first time I did a dab when I wasn't ready, I threw up. Like,
Ooh,
that's not fun. That's
that's not sexy at all.
not
Nope.
sexy at all. So kind of stay away from that until you are way, way more experienced. And likewise with edibles, like edibles are coming in 10 milligram doses in California. That's way too much for the average newbie. Like,
Mm.
you want to do 5 or less. And the thing with edibles is you have to wait up to 2 full hours for the effects to take place. So, if you take 5 milligrams and you're like, 30 minutes later, I don't feel anything, I'm going to take some more.
Oh, damn.
2 hours from then, you will literally be regretting all of your life choices in order. Like, just don't do it.
Yeah, I've
Bad
heard
news
so many
bears.
horror stories of people eating cookies and not realizing that there was something in it, and
Oh
then
god,
just being
yeah.
like, comatose for the
So
rest of the
bad.
day or
And
days.
edibles are not good for sex either because
Really?
you never know quite when they're gonna kick in.
Okay.
Like, if you've got a 2-hour window of when it might take effect, and when it takes effect for you may be different than when it
Uh-huh.
takes effect for your partner,
Oh.
and it lasts for 4 to 6 hours, like, I have sex for 4 to 6 hours, but most people I know do not. So, like, it's unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah. Here's a question that I'm curious about. Does it impact sexual functioning, like erections or orgasms or anything like that? Or does it, what have you experienced or what have you seen?
I have myself, and I've heard from many people say that it makes orgasms easier to access, in
Mm.
a lot of cases.
Why is that? Just because the relaxation or?
Partially the relaxation, partially the, like, allowing you to be more, um, present in your body,
Hmm.
and any of those kinds of shame stories that are spiraling around kind of quiet down so that you can
Mm.
really be embodied in your pleasure instead of thinking like, "Oh, my stomach. Oh, my this. Oh, I feel
Uh-huh.
bad that I'm enjoying this because I was raised Catholic and I was told that sex is only for procreation." Whatever that baggage is. Hi, former Catholic here. Um,
Amen. Me too. Welcome to the club.
right? Like, whew, a lot of things you have to unpack from religious upbringings, and so I think cannabis can kind of put those inhibitions aside so that you can really just enjoy what's happening and really feel connected with your partner, which unlocks the ability to be more pleasure focused and potentially orgasmic. Although, as we both know, orgasm is not the goal; it's just a
Right.
bonus.
Yes, our goal is pleasurable
Yes,
sex. Yes.
pleasure is the
So
thing.
what about erections? How does that impact those?
So erections, it is a bit of a mixed bag.
Mm.
You're gonna have to kind of see how it works for you. I've talked to people with penises who like longer, stronger, kind of energizer bunny situation. And I've talked to people with penises who are like, yeah, if I get real stoned, like it's just kind of like whiskey dick. It's can't really wake it up.
Oh.
And I think that's actually okay. Like, we get so fixated on erections as like,
Mhm.
if the penis isn't erect, then we can't have the sex and there's
Right.
no pleasure possible. Like, no, I love sucking on a flaccid penis. It's awesome. That's the only
Me
way I
too.
can get the whole thing in my mouth. Like, I have a high gag point. There is no shot that I'm going to get my boyfriend's massive penis in my mouth unless it's flaccid. So, like, we need people with penises to stop stressing about erections because, like, they are not the be all end all. There are a lot of ways to explore eroticism outside of penetrative sex. And I think it's great. Like, if your penis is not like functioning the way you want it to, great. You've got 2 hands and a tongue, and we have a whole thing of toys. Like, let's find other ways of making each other feel good because there are many.
I love that you say this. And that's something that I oftentimes talk about too, because I've given some of the best blowjobs with somebody who is flaccid. And once I got them to just surrender to their own pleasure, they ended up having a full body orgasm. Because as
Yes.
in Tantra, we talk about, having a soft penis can be a powerful, because there's not, because you can move the energy a lot more
Yes,
easily through the body because it's not concentrated or tense and building up
exactly.
in pressure there. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, oof, I love this. Yes,
Yeah,
celebrating the flacids.
love those flaccid cocks.
Lovers, thank you again for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, hit subscribe and head over to eatplaysex.com to connect with me and grab my sexy guides. Because my goal here is to get you to eat, play, and sex better so you can improve your sex life, which will improve every aspect of your life. Until next time, keep it sexy.